Somebody sort the chin. Let's go ahead and rank all the Beatles studio albums. These aren't including the EPs, these aren't including the singles, they're just including the studio albums. There are 13 of them. So please me all the way to Let It Be. And let's just get started with it. This is my opinion. You can let me know yours in the comment section below. So here we are on Tier Maker. This isn't my Tier Maker, but if you want to go ahead and play this, I will link it in the description if I can, or just search tiermaker.com and then just search for the Beatles albums. So there are 13 of them, and again, this is my own opinion, and let's just get started with this. So for me, my number 13 is Yellow Submarine from 1969, based off the film, well, for the soundtrack from the film, which was in 1968. To me, it's just an okay album. I'd probably give it a 6.5 out of 10. So if S is like masterpieces, A is amazing, B is great, C is good, I think D is going to have to be... I think D will just have the bad albums, which there are none. So it'll be none in D. I think we'll have this in C instead. C is going to be the okay tier. My favourite song from the album is probably... Well, it is All You Need Is Love. But if you don't count that as one, because it wasn't another album as well before Yellow Submarine, it was a Magical Mystery Tour in 1967. So if you don't count that, then it would be Hey Bulldog for me. Also, my favourite Beatle in this album is John Lennon, and my favourite side is the first side, or side A, whatever you want to call it. The second side just got George Martin instrumental songs. George Martin was their producer. So in every single one of these, I'm going to be talking about those specific statistics. If you want me to go ahead and do like a proper review for any of these, you can go ahead and let me know if you want me to do that. So coming in at number 12 is With the Beatles, which I do think is a great album. I would rate it 8.5 out of 10, so it would go in the B tier for me. My favourite Beatle from the album is John Lennon, and my favourite side is the first side of the album. And my favourite song is All My Loving. But the reason why it's number 12 is, I don't know, it's just out of all the others, it's the one I listen to the least and has the least impact on me personally. And I think the covers on it are great, but some of them are a little bit on the forgettable side. And then number 11 is going to go ahead and be Beatles for Sale, which I used to prefer with the Beatles over Beatles for Sale. This is another 8.5 out of 10 album. B tier, definitely. That was my iPad pen I was just dropping then. My favourite Beatle from the album is John Lennon, and my favourite song from the album is 8 Days a Week. And my favourite side is actually the second side. I'm not actually sure which side I prefer at the moment. It's the second side, but don't be surprised if in a week or two it's the first side. We'll just have to wait and see, but at the moment it's the second side. Now we move on to, so that was my number 11. So my number 10 is going to be their debut album. Oh, I forgot to say that with the Beatles was released in 1963, and with the Beatles for Sale was in 1964. But Please Me was in 1963. I'm going to put that one there, but I'm going to put it ahead of all the others because I prefer it than all those others. So we'll put it there. And the Beatles Sale, referred to with the Beatles, like you know there. Please Me, solid album, solid 8.5 for me. Again, the covers aren't really that memorable. I just think it's just better than those two albums. I do think Beatles for Sale is slightly better than With the Beatles. I don't know, I just think there's just better songs, I think, overall. Not every single song is better, though. And that Please Me, it's just definitely just got that. I just think it's just got a lot more iconic songs than those other two. Speaking of iconic songs, my favourite from the album is actually the name of the album, Please Me. It used to be Love Me Do, then I saw her stand in there, but now, pleased to say, it is Please Me. And my favourite Beatle from the album is actually Paul McCartney, and my favourite side is the first side. It used to be the second side, but now it's the first side for me. So that's my number 10. My number 9 is Let It Be from 1970, which I'd give this one, I give this album also an 8.5 out of 10. I do think it's better than all the other ones just because I think there's just a lot more enjoyable songs, I think, overall. You've got Let It Be, Long and Winding Road, Get Back. My favourite song from the album is Let It Be, and my favourite Beatle from the album is Paul McCartney, and my favourite side is side 1. So now we move on to my number 8. My number 8 is A Hard Day's Night from 1964. My favourite song from the album is And I Love Her. This one actually isn't an 8.5. It's a 9 out of 10, so therefore being on the 80. Thank God we got one in the 80 here finally. And I do think the album is very, very solid. I absolutely loved it. That's the one I've listened to very, very recently. I've just recently got it on vinyl, and I absolutely love it. I think it's a fantastic album. Definitely on the more iconic side. And my favourite side is side 1. My favourite Beatle is John Lennon from the album. I think he's definitely outstanding in that album, but so are all of them. But I just think John is I just think ahead on that album. I forgot to mention that my favourite song from the album is And I Love Her. What a fantastic song that is. My number 7 is going to be Magical Mystery Tour from 1967. That's another amazing album, 9 out of 10. The reason why these aren't like S tier for me is just because I think there are some weaker songs on the album. My favourite side is side 2, and my favourite Beatle on the album is Paul McCartney. It's really difficult to decide which Beatle is my favourite on the album, but probably is Paul McCartney, but John Lennon is definitely very, very close for me. Looks like I forgot to mention something again. My favourite song on the album is Strawberry Fields Forever, just like And I Love Her, another fantastic song. So for my number 6, it's going to be the White Album, the Beatles' White Album from 1968. This is another amazing album, but I do prefer, we'll put that one there, and then put the White Album one there. I do absolutely love the White Album. In terms of my favourite side, this is the only Beatles album that's a double album, from the studio ones, that is. My favourite side is the first side, and I think my favourite Beatle in the album is Paul McCartney. It's also the album that's got the first heavy metal song with Helter Skelter, just a brilliant track. But my favourite track is probably, it actually is Dear Prudence. I do think it's a fantastic song. Just an amazing album in general. I do think it is near perfect. There are just a few songs that that really just make it a 9 out of 10. If those songs weren't there, it would definitely be a 10 out of 10. That's really all I'm going to say there. It's difficult to know if Paul is my favourite from the album, actually, now I think about it, because there is Julia from John Lennon as well, as Dear Prudence. So I think it is Paul McCartney, mainly because of the influential song of Helter Skelter. Now we move on to my number 5, which is going to be Help from 1965. So we'll go ahead, and this one I wouldn't rate a 10 because there are a couple of covers. It is definitely a 9.5 out of 10 though, very, very close to being a masterpiece for me. My favourite song from the album, Yesterday. Favourite side 1. And my favourite Beatle is... It's really, really hard with who my favourite Beatle is on that album, but for me, it's going to have to go ahead and be John Lennon for me. But Paul McCartney is still amazing in this album as well. Now I'll move on to the top 4. We're nearly there, guys. And my number 4 is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band from 1966. It's meant to be the best, I think it's the best 60s album of all time by a lot of people. And I can understand why. I do absolutely love the album. My favourite side from Sgt. Pepper is the third side for me, and I think that Paul McCartney, it's one of his best albums, I think. So I think Paul McCartney is definitely my favourite Beatle. This is a masterpiece, absolutely love it. S tier for me. What else can I say? I love the album cover. I love pretty much every single song on this album. It's just a brilliant album, A Day in the Life. What an amazing way of ending that just amazing album. It's in my top 10 albums of all time. Now my number 3 is going to go ahead and be, it used to be Sgt. Pepper's used to be my second, then it was my third, now it's my fourth, but my third this used to be my second favourite Beatles album, and that is Rubber Soul from 1965. So we'll put that one there. Brilliant album, in my top 10 albums of all time again, of course, and it's my third favourite album of all time. Used to be my second, but you'll see which one beat it. It beat it in the end. It's just a brilliant album. My favourite Beatle from the album is definitely John Lennon. I think it's his best Beatles work he's done, and my favourite side has got to be the first side for me. My favourite song from the album, I don't think I mentioned for Sgt. Pepper's. For Sgt. Pepper's is of course A Day in the Life. And for Rubber Soul, my favourite song from it is In My Life. And my number 2 is Revolver from 1966. I wouldn't be surprised if this was number 1 at some point. Fantastic album. Favourite side 1. Favourite Beatle, Paul McCartney. I love his work on this with Eleanor Rigby for No One. And my personal favourite song, one of my favourite songs of all time. In my top 20. I think it's my 19th favourite song of all time. Here, There and Everywhere. Absolutely love it. Gets to me every time. It's actually Paul McCartney's favourite Beatles song. He said on an interview with Idris Elba. If you've not seen the interview with Idris Elba, it was really good. I highly recommend that one. Just a brilliant album, and Tomorrow Never Knows, I really didn't care for that song at first, which was why it wasn't one of my favourite Beatles albums, was because of a few songs on it, and mainly with Tomorrow Never Knows. I love it. I think Tomorrow Never Knows is a masterpiece. It's in my top 100 Beatles songs, not in my top 50 for me though. And my number 1 is Abbey Road. Abbey Road is my number 1 favourite album of all time. Favourite side 1. Favourite song from the album is Golden Summer's Carried Away in the End. If you can't count 3 songs, it would be Something, my favourite George Harrison song ever, in my opinion. It used to be Here Comes the Sun, now it's Something. I love Octopus's Garden from Ringo Starr. Come Together from John Lennon's amazing. Just the whole album is just absolutely amazing. I think it is my favourite Beatles album. Revolver might be my favourite eventually, but at the moment it's still Abbey Road. I kind of want it to always be Abbey Road. We'll just have to wait and see, I guess. But that's it. We have ranked all the Beatles albums. None in D tier, thank God. None 1 in C, 4 in B, 4 in A, and 4 in S, which is very cool to see that they've all got. Very interesting to see that they've all got 4 in the S, A, and B category. And yeah, that's really all I've got to say here. You can let me know your opinion in the comment section below. I really enjoyed doing this. It is probably a lot longer than I was expecting to be. There was quite a lot I wanted to mention about each of the albums. All of these, I think, are great albums. Maybe not Yellow Submarine. If you don't count that one, though, I think the Beatles just have an amazing discography. I just think they're my favourite band of all time. There's nothing that's going to top them. But I just think they're just brilliant. They're just really out of this world. They're the gods of the music. That's what I say. And that's all I'm gonna say for this tier makeup part of the video. Now we'll do the outro. This is the final thing I forgot to mention, which is Rubber Soul was released in 1965, Revolver was released in 1966, and Abbey Road was released in 1969. One of my favourite years of music. It really ended on a bang, in my opinion. It also is when the moon landed and had Space Oddity by David Bowie. It also had brilliant live band performances from Simon and Garfunkel, such as Scarborough Fair, Canticle, and For Emily Whenever I May Find Her. But in case you want to know what years those albums were released, I thought I'd mention it here. And now we'll get to the outro. This is the outro. And my favourite, I forgot to mention that Golden Summer's Carried Away in the End is my favourite Beatles song. That's from Abbey Road, and that's also my 4th favourite song of all time. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was definitely a lot longer than I thought. I could have spoken a lot longer about all the albums, I think. And if you want me to do a review for them, you can go ahead and let me know if that's something you want to see. I'll go in depth track by track. This was just sort of like a quick review with them all. Really, I told you what I rate them out of 10. I told you a few statistics. I can't say it, statistics. And that's really all I'm going to say for this video. Peace and love to the Beatles. Peace and love to you all watching this. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And we'll see when the next time I do Beatles video. We'll just have to wait and see for that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace and love, and ciao.